In order for Full Style Drive to be more than just a gimmick, something cool off to show your friends and play with now and then, it's gonna have to be spectacular. And it's gonna have to be like a tool, something that makes your life easier and better. And that's what this whole fun about being a beta tester is to be a part of that journey. So here's what we're doing today. Today, I have to go down to get some work done on my teeth again. Yay! So we're gonna take a look at a real life example here of can the car drive me to my orthodontist appointment and get me there safely, and how many times will I have to engage, which is totally fine. So we're gonna see how that works now. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up here to my calendar and tap on the location. Right, now next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it into autopilot. And for now, when I'm in my development, I am going to actually keep my computer on right now because I don't want everyone knowing exactly where I live. I'm gonna put my speed down to a speed that I'm comfortable with going through my neighborhood at 15 miles an hour, and we're gonna let it get us out of this neighborhood. Now, it's all about comfort when it comes to driving on autopilot, and the beta is working hard on making that a reality. For example, driving through a neighborhood like this, I don't want to have to worry about cars like this coming up ahead of me directly on right now. So I like to see what the car is going to actually do here. So you can see that we swerved around that car and got a little bit close to those construction guys, but reasonably good, kept me in my lane there. So that was okay. I'm actually completely okay with how it acted there. But the fact that it does kind of stay in the middle of the lane here as it's kind of figuring out what to do just gives me a lot of wonder to what it will do in different circumstances, and that's what's going to be a lot of fun along this journey as I figure out what beta is capable of right now. Now, I'm not going to show you this entire trip because that's just a lot of boring crap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to all the stuff that's actually interesting, and we'll take a look at that. For example, here we are at a left-hand turn, and we are going to be taking a left here, and that car came zipping around that corner there, and I was really excited to see that the car didn't brake check and slam his brakes on right there, because that would have been a pretty trippy thing. That guy was going about double the speed limit he should have been right there, and that could have been a bad situation, but the car saw it wasn't going to hit us and didn't overreact, which is really impressive. Slowing down for a speed bump? Yeah, baby. Ooh, I've been waiting for that. Yes, yes. Regular autopilot uses that as a jump. Now watch this. When we make this turn right here, the last time I did this turn, it turned right into this lane over here instead of going into the actual lane. So I got to take it out right there, and I'm gonna hit this again to send that information back to Tesla. I don't know why it has an issue right there with that specific turn, but it does it. It puts me in that lane. And earlier this morning when I went out to the hardware store, it drove all the way to the end of that and never got into the real turn lane. So for those of you who are wondering what would happen if I hadn't taken over, it doesn't get into the real lane. So, you know, we'll hopefully see that change as I do it more and more and continue to send data back to Tesla about that situation. Now this is really cool to see right here. The car was kind of getting sick and tired of being stuck behind this dump truck here, and so it turned and went around the car to get in the right lane. And I was just thinking, I wonder what it will do here, because we're used to that on autopilot on the freeways. It would get us out from behind a slower vehicle. Because how this works, if you're new to watching this, is you have a max speed here and then you have your actual speed. So the car is going to do whatever it can to keep you at that max speed. And so because we are going so much slower and it knew we could go faster, the cameras saw that, then it moved us over. Now coming up here is going to be kind of interesting, because after this light, these two different lanes, they merge together into one, and we are in the lane that has to merge. And so what I would like to see here is how far the car is going to go before it actually decides to get over, or is going to wait to the very last second and have to make a decision. Right, and here we go. And chances are it's going to be right when we're beside that motorcycle behind us. So I am curious to see how long this is going to take to actually get over. Now here's a motorcycle coming up right beside me right here. You can see that it's right there. What's the car going to do? What's the car going to do? They're moving over, letting us merge, and now the car identifies it's going to have to merge and does not take off and go past these guys. That is so impressive. Ding. Because what's happening right there is in the old autopilot, I would just shoot up right beside the other car to the last second, and it's pretty obvious that I was trying to not let the guy get ahead of me, but I wasn't doing it, the car was. So that's awesome. Very, very impressive. So a little bit about the settings that I drive on. You can see I have everything turned on my screen. We have the stopping for stop line, stop sign, all that stuff. And in my custom navigation, I have the speed-based lane changes like we experienced a little bit ago on average. So we could do max mode, which would make us do it a little bit more. But right now it's just on average, which I find to be fairly average. I have it not requiring a lane change confirmation, so it will just change lanes as it needs to without me having to approve it. And I have it vibrating and making a chime when it actually goes to do it. Now here we are going into a construction zone right here. There's a lot of stuff going on, and this is always going to be a challenge because this is something that's going to be different with every time the car drives through a zone. It's going to be different than it was on a different construction zone because no two construction zones are the same. And obviously the car handled that fine, but it didn't have to really make any decisions there. It pretty much only had to stay in its lane. So that's not that impressive, obviously. So whatever. But that was kind of neat just to see it, how it all handled it. And it didn't freak out. So there's something there. I have to just tell you guys right now that this did happen to me just today, where I went to construction zone and the car had to completely re-navigate itself. It was absolutely insane what happened. It's coming up in a future video. Here's a quick preview of it, and then we'll get back to the video. And one thing that you notice along this beta is that you get a lot of these like braking that goes on. And I don't mean brake checking. It's like it just kind of randomly slows down in the middle of a curve or something, and a little bit more than like right now, like we're slowing down. Okay, but there's a red light, that makes sense. But you just kind of randomly slow down, like maybe 5 miles per hour, and not like a hard, just a little bit. And you can tell that the car is trying to decide something. You can almost feel and sense the brain of the car thinking and trying to make decisions, which it's just kind of interesting. And then you see the car kind of work through it. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Right, now heading up here is going to be our first, whoa, that was interesting. We're going to go ahead and tap that. Look at that guy. He gave me the eye and everything on that one. The car it made me turn way before my turn into the turn lane, into the oncoming traffic there. So definitely want to send that data back to Tesla so they can analyze that. And then we need to make this turn right here. So that's great. Very good. All right. So that part was great. So this will be the first time then that I go onto a main interstate. This is called Highway 18, and we'll be on this for 7.5 miles, a little over that. And I have a feeling this is going to work very similar to what I'm used to, and so that's going to be nice. But like, yeah, that situation back there. Let's go back and look at a replay of that real quick, because I noticed that when I was going into that, I mean, I had my hands there, and that's the thing, is that when you're on the beta, they couldn't be more clear about the fact that you're on a beta, and that you have to be ready to take control of the car at any and every time that you need to. Like you sign that, you agree to that when you become part of the beta, and that's why right there, because Tesla knows that that kind of stuff is happening, and they're asking for our help to make that better. So as you can see, we were just going through to get into that turn lane, and the car just it was like really quickly, really sharp, wanted to go against it. I felt the pressure in my hands before my mind even processed it, so I just grabbed the wheel, kicked it out of autopilot, was able to fix it. But I mean, it's still noticeable. I mean, the guy on the motorcycle, he comes by looking at me, giving me the look like, are you drunk? But that's just part of being in the program, and so I'm fine with that, whatever. Now we got a long drive still left before our next exit, so now is a great time to tell you guys about the sponsor of this video. If you like money and metrics, you've got to check out this app called optiwatt. optiwatt helps you save money on your electric vehicle charging bill by connecting with your power company and only charging your car on off-peak hours. And they have this really cool app. Let's take a look at mine. The first bit of info is probably my favorite because it shows me just how much money I have spent and saved. So far this year, I have saved $1,165 by not buying fuel. Below that, it breaks down your environmental impact. It looks like as of now, I have saved 896 gallons of gasoline. Below that, you have your charge forecast, followed by a history of each time your car received charge, the amount of time it was charging, and the average cost per kilowatt hour for that charge. optiwatt gives you control of how you want your scheduled charging to go. You can choose convenience, where you tell it what days and what time, or you can choose the cheapest option that would only charge at off-peak hours. You can even tell the app how to charge your car when you're on a trip. And the great news is this app is absolutely free. Well, free for you anyway. If you use my link down below in the description, when you sign up for optiwatt, they will actually send you $5 for signing up for an app that everyone should really have anyway. So you get to make money for saving money and helping the power grid. Now, let's get back to your video. And welcome back, right in time to pass the semi-truck, and this is something we're very used to with Navigate on Autopilot, as we've had with the full self-drive so far. The full self-drive meaning you pay for the subscription so you have access to Navigate on Autopilot, which is just going around vehicles while on the interstate here. Now this will be interesting. We're going to pass the speed limit sign the same time that we're passing the truck, and we won't actually see that speed limit sign. So you notice how the car did not drop down to 55 miles an hour because it did not see that speed limit sign. So that's another thing you got to be aware of when you're driving, is that you cannot rely on this car for anything. You're not supposed to right now. So I'm going to drop it down so my max speed is only 5 over to 50, so it'll be 60 miles an hour. Now, watch what happens here. As soon as we get going up this hill, every update before this one, what's happened was, just on this hill here, it kicks me out of navigating autopilot, and it won't let me change lanes either. So we're gonna see if that happens here. It's like a weird spot, like going over this pass right here. I don't know why it always does it, but we're gonna see if it does it now. Maybe with 10.2, this is not the case. Maybe this has been fixed in the map somehow. So we'll see. Wow, we just jumped into, see, look at this. We are now on regular drive. The car is not recognizing right now, and that's the exact same place before it kicked me out of navigating autopilot. The car does not recognize right now we're on an interstate. Isn't that bizarre? Something to do with the mapping on it. It kicked me right out of it. So now, yeah, the car is acting like we're driving just on a big old main freeway. That is nuts. The downside of this is that because it thinks we're not on a freeway, it's just making me drive here in the fast lane, which normally I would want to be in that lane over there, not in the fast lane or passing lane, because obviously that's just wrong. So that is the downside to this. Now we're coming up on a slow vehicle up here. We got lights flashing. We'll see how the car handles this, but again, it should handle it the same way that we're used to seeing with regular autopilot. So we're coming up on this car here, this truck. We got a merge coming up here, so we want to change lanes quickly here. If we're gonna do it, we gotta do it now. Come on, do it, do it. Okay, I'm gonna manually tell it to do it so we pass this guy. It's not gonna happen now. Now we're gonna get stuck behind him. Yeah, and see, look at that. It just kicked out of navigate and autopilot again. And so I have to hit the brake here because now it doesn't know we're on a freeway. And I don't want this guy to, I don't want to cut this guy off, obviously. So I'm gonna hit the brake there and put it back on behind him. And again, because you're seeing this full screen, that means it thinks we're in a city, on a city road. So I'm gonna send that back to Tesla as well, so they can try to figure out what in the world's going on with that. Again, nothing dangerous. It's just that, you got to think of your job as a beta tester as like a job. Like you're working for Tesla right now. You're working for the greater community of the autopilot system. And you're not just like, you didn't just like buy this program and now you're along for the ride. That's the people that aren't part of the beta that will get that someday when it's complete. Right now, you're working for Tesla, and you got to be always on the job with your mind and not let the car do something dangerous. It's very important what we're doing. This is important work. Yeah, I've had multiple people that live in the area tweet and message me and say, man, so many issues going over Tiger Mountain. And I'm like, well, I see why now, because it thinks we're on a city street. Got a notification saying that regenerative braking is temporarily reduced and that it will increase as the vehicle is driven. I'm not really sure why on that. I have 70% battery. So I gained 2% battery going down that pass. I was at 68 at the crest, and now I'm at 70%, which is kind of cool. So we'll be curious here to see, because we're coming up at this on the beta, on the street driving portion of it, and we have 2 lanes to choose from here, a left and a right. I assume it's going to choose the left lane, not the slow lane, to go around this truck. We'll see what it actually does here with the split. Yeah, it looks like that's what it's going to do. Good. So it should just punch it here and get up to 60. There we go. Make that pass. Well, that's one thing about driving in a Tesla. Hills mean nothing. You feel no strain, no pull. Like it's really not having to try hard at all to get up these hills. This little tiny van just been trying to pass me this entire way. Look at this guy. He looks like he's going to actually get it before the lane ends. Some people just do not want to be behind a Tesla. They're just so, man, how dare you not speed. So now we're coming up to the end of the freeway here. So we've had 3 disengagements on this trip so far. And they've been in, interesting situations, stuff that's just like, you wonder why there, why here when it's just a little lane that turns, why is it disengaging there? I'd be really curious to go back to the same spot and see what happens, which we'll see in future videos. But we're getting close. We're 3.5 miles out from our destination. And I mean, I've been very, very impressed on this drive overall. Obviously, there's a lot of things that the Tesla's still learning from, and that's great. But so far, overall, most of the trip, it's done most of the driving. Would I say that I get in the car and just relax and let the car drive? No. Not there yet. But that's okay. So we're going through this light here, and then we're going to be getting into the town of Snoqualmie right now, which is a really nice area out here that's just really exploded over the last 10 years. Whole new shopping centers, new living conditions. It used to be kind of up here in the woods, and now it's got its own, you know, town basically up here. Pretty wild. You know, I've been really trying to decide where this car is placing itself in the lane. Is it kind of getting close to the left in the center lane? What's it doing? And I think overall it's actually doing pretty well keeping centered. I mean, there are times when it does drift a little bit to the left, but not a lot. Like, okay, so right there, you saw the speed drop a little bit. That was an example of the car doing that weird stop thing as it's trying to decide. But my goodness, look at these colors. I'm pretty colorblind, but I think that's red, all these trees. Comment below if I got the color right. But very pretty out here, very, very beautiful out here. How great is it going to be though when the car can actually park itself for me? Like where we're going has a parking lot. How great is it going to be when it can just go right in and find a spot? Because the car can already navigate me to the spot, and it can park in a spot, assuming there's cars on both sides. So how great would that be if you could actually just connect those two together? That's what I'm stoked about. Like we're slowing down right there. We went down 4 miles per hour as we kind of crested that hill a little bit. And there was no technical reason for that in terms of like, there was no person in the way. But if the car has to do it, it has to do it. I mean, this is gonna all be a lot like Tesla was when I first got it with autopilot. Changing lanes to get in the right lane. I love it. Yeah, baby, very good, very impressive. Whoa, look at that hard brake right there. We dropped 4 miles per hour, pretty quick pace right there. We'll just throw that in. It wasn't, again, that wasn't a real brake check. For me, it's gotta be like over 5 miles per hour hard. I feel like I'm doing that to call it a brake check. For me, that's just an undecisive moment happening. So I'm not gonna call that a brake check, but that was braking. It seems to really do it mostly when it's going over a hill, when we're cresting something and it can't get a full vision of the road in front, that it slows down a little bit there. And for me as a driver, I don't really care. If you start thinking too much about what the people behind you are thinking, that's when you start to care. That's when you start going, oh, are they going to hit me? Are they worried about it? Would they think I'm crazy? You know, all that kind of stuff. That's when it starts kind of getting to you. So this is one of our final lights right here, our final light, our destination here to my orthodontist. So we're going to get in here and see how it does. So there's the blinker right there. And we got cars right on the corner here that we're turning into. So we're going to see how this looks, and a car right there in the lane. Let's see how it handles this. What? Why did I hit? Oh, I hit the brake on accident. Oh, but you guys, it did it though. You saw that. I only hit the brake. I did not in any way. Oh my gosh, amazing. I did not steer that. It steered right between those. Unbelievable. That was, wow, how incredible was that? Okay, here we go. Creeping forward, checking visibility because there's a ton of cars around. Here we go, baby. Here we go. All right, good. Now we got to do one more really sharp turn to this parking lot. Nice. Oh, there's a car coming here too. What are we going to do? Okay, it gave me back control. Good. Woohoo! That was amazing. Amazing. So what do you guys think? I mean, we had 3 disengagements over this entire time. That last one coming in here was the most impressive thing I have seen yet. Car right there and on the corner, and there was maybe a foot on either side of my car, and it squeezed right in there all on its own. I tapped the brake because I'm a sissy. I shouldn't have. It would have made it just fine, but oh man, I'm impressed.